Jerusalem and bring in the ABC correspondent Jordana Miller. Jordana, good to talk to you. Clearly causing a rift verbally with the White House. The spokesperson John Kirby saying that, well, we differ in our approach and our view on this. Is it a surprise that Benjamin Netanyahu has given this statement?
I don't think it's a surprise, Gavin. Many people here have long believed that Netanyahu does not support a Palestinian state. And though he says he's been consistent, many years ago he gave what was called the famous Bar Ilan speech when President Obama was in power. And he did there lend his support for the idea of a Palestinian state. So Netanyahu has also flip-flopped. But even when he made that statement, I think it was clear many people did not believe him. And over the years, we've seen that he has not moved the political process forward. And I think now Netanyahu, because the country is in such a crisis after October 7th and in the middle of the war, and there are no signs of election right now, Netanyahu is stating, his plan for the future, which certainly speaks, speaks to his base, his right-wing base. But if we take a closer look, Netanyahu is essentially saying, I believe that there is a military solution to Hamas and to our problem with the Palestinians. And people have, for many years now, said that is simply not going to be the case. And somehow Netanyahu still believes that if he defeats Hamas and sets up some kind of government in a governing body in the Gaza Strip, that is somehow better than a demilitarized, internationally backed Palestinian state. And many people are arguing we could just see, Israel could see itself in 30 years fighting a similar war in the Gaza Strip. In other words, this cycle will go on and on and on unless we find a political solution. And that is also the position not only of some centrists here and people in the left-wing camp, but obviously the United States, which yesterday, the remarks of the State Department were very clear. They said the United States is not pushing Israel into any direction, but it is certainly putting an opportunity on the table, an opportunity to even normalize ties with Saudi Arabia if Israel can pave a path towards Palestinian statehood. And, at this point, Netanyahu is rejecting that opportunity. Could that change later? Possibly. But right now, if Abba Eban were here, the famous foreign minister for Israel, he always said that the Palestinians never missed an opportunity to miss an opportunity. He might have said the same thing now about Netanyahu.
Very interesting. The US saying that they will keep the conversation going. And as you say, Netanyahu flip-flopping on this in the past, but seemed very clear at the moment. Tell us what's going on inside, on the ground in Gaza at the moment. The Israeli forces saying they've reached the most southern point of the Strip.
Well, Israel continues to, intensely fight Hamas terrorists in southern Gaza. The fighting there is expected to be intense for weeks, if not months, because it turns out that as Israel's intelligence was off or in the dark about what was happening with Hamas's military capabilities, especially its tunnels in northern Gaza, that has been even more so the case in southern Gaza, where there are miles and miles of tunnels and Hamas fighters there that fled the north and went to the south. And the battlefield is complicated, of course, by the fact that Israel believes some of those hostages are there. But Israel now moving to the southernmost point, Israel now has begun to openly talk about its operation in the future to take what's called the Philadelphia Corridor. That is the border between Egypt and Gaza, where a lot of weapon smuggling happens. So as it was expected, Israel's moving further and further south.
Thank you, Jordana. Jordana Miller, ABC correspondent in Jerusalem. Stay with us as well. We'll be speaking to UNICEF later in this programme about the situation facing children across the Strip. Next, it's been 3 months.